back to Podro Pascal, the podcast about Pedro Pascal. I am one of your co-hosts, Catrina Dennis.
And I'm your other co-host. I'm the other one, Rachel Leishman. And we're here to talk about the finale of The Last of Us, season numero uno. So now we're down to what we have so many things happen with Pedro Pascal.
I
So now we're down
know.
to listen, I am so happy you're so busy. I'm so proud of you. Can you spread it out a little bit more? I'm
We are also
dying.
busy, sir.
Can you spread it out a little bit more? Just a little bit. But he's been very busy. I almost want to, and I'm pitching this off the cuff so you two can tell me yes or no. I almost think we should just keep this just about The Last of Us and then just make a note. We're going to do a news roundup of everything that's happened.
Yes, I'm down.
Okay. All right. Because it's a lot. And I don't feel like recapping all of it right now. I will see you guys 3 nights in a row, baby.
Yeah.
So we know Pedro Pascal's been busy. He's been a busy boy. We'll do a whole episode about all the things he's done in the last week, separate from this, because there is a lot. And we want to focus this mainly on the Last of Us finale because it was really good, in my opinion.
Yeah, I enjoyed it very much. I dig it. I'm ready to get into it.
Let's do it. As always, there are spoilers coming up. So if you haven't watched and you don't want to know, bye. See you later.
Watch the episode. What are you doing here? We have so many other episodes you could be watching.
I don't know. Apparently in London, it's not out yet. So
Oh no!
y'all
that's
over
awful.
there.
Well,
I
that's
don't know.
awful.
Some lady yelled at the Mary Sue because she was like, "Spoilers! It's not out here." Okay, we're America. See, it's here.
Yeah. It's
Whatever.
probably a bad idea for me to say Londoners, watch us the next day, so we have further playability. Watch us all week. We're like on Netflix.
Catch up. Yeah, we're a Netflix show. We grow as the weeks go on. So the finale, called "Look for the Light," is pretty faithful to the game. I don't remember any major changes. I think obviously the episode before was David, and he messed up Ellie mentally, and she was not good. And so we're seeing a little bit of that aftermath in the beginning of this episode. Well, wait, before we do that, Katrina, what did you think overall of the whole season?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was, it was a very faithful adaptation of the video game without being like overtly exactly like it. I thought that the major changes, like with Bill and Frank, with several of the other characters, were great. I think it was a very smart choice to do those things and adapt it for TV, and also bring what was a story made in 2003 forward to this time, because a lot of those things would have been upsetting to see again, especially at this time in the world and with all the stuff going on. So I thought it was culturally relevant. I thought it was very well acted. Our cast top tier, and I really enjoyed it. How about you?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I think, again, I watched playthrough of the game. I myself am not a video game player because I'm bad at them. And so it was cool to kind of see how they expanded on it because I had just watched the game, and I really did love this season and what it chose to kind of dive into more and explore more than the game did. I think that was really interesting. And I really loved just kind of how this show grew Ellie and Joel's relationship. Not that the game didn't really get into it, but the way that they spent time and showed us that they actually cared and knew each other in certain ways, I feel worked more for me in the show than it did the game.
Yeah, I think that's a direct credit to the rapport that Pedro and Bella built up with each other. They're already fantastic actors, but they created a very realistic bond between father and adopted daughter.
And it really does shine in this finale because, as I was saying, David was the last episode, and we kind of saw the very quick aftermath of it. and how Ellie was kind of feeling after everything was said and done when they're walking away, but we didn't get to see it fully explored. And we get to kind of unpack a lot of what she's feeling in the beginning of this episode, with kind of her and Joel going and they're trying to find the fireflies still, and they're moving around and they end up finding this like abandoned place, and you can hear Joel constantly checking in on her throughout the whole scene. Like he's just kind of like, how are you feeling? Are you okay? Are you good? And he just like it was just a slight switch in how him and Ellie kind of interacted previously.
Yeah, I think that last episode was a big shock for both of them on many different varying levels. And um I think it shows that Joel still has an instinct that he thinks died inside of him a long time ago. Because I'm sure this is how he would talk to Sarah if she was having even like a bad day, like he loved Sarah deeply. And like I think that being able to have that instinct turn back on for him was a big like step forward for his character that we've been waiting for. So
I completely agree. So, what I loved the most about this opening scene, first of all, I do have to say, so watching this with screeners, it is really emotional when you realize, like, because it was a real giraffe. And it starts showing, and I started crying. So I was like, oh my God, it's a real giraffe. Like, the screeners I got was that blue screen that you see, like in the now behind the scenes pictures, like that blue. That's kind of what I saw on my screeners.
yeah.
And then you see the giraffe, so I was crying. And then I saw a man in a green suit walk away as the giraffe. And so I went from crying to cackling because a guy in a green suit walked on the screen as a giraffe.
I love that. Oh, that's fantastic.
I have thought about him for the last 3 days. I've just been like, oh, my guy,
So wait,
my
does
giraffe
that
guy.
mean does that mean there were multiple guys in green suits as giraffes in the wide shot, or is that all animated? Because I would
That
love
I
to
don't
believe it's the
know.
former.
That I don't know. I just know it's like with a close up, it was a real giraffe, and then when the giraffe walks away and you see the giraffe walk away, it is a CGI thing because it was just like you can't
Just a
make a
guy.
giraffe. You can't tell a giraffe, "Hey, go over there." So it was just like that kind of thing. But it did make this particular moment just like really work for me because Ellie has been through so much, and you can see how worried Joel is for her.
Mhm.
Because in the lead up to it, she just runs into this place that they're looking for, and she's like, "Come on, come on!" And she's like saying things to him, and you can see he's like, "Stop! Like I don't know what's there. I don't know what's going on. You might get hurt. I don't know what's happening." And then it
Mhm.
just kind of opens up into this beautiful moment between the two of them,
Mhm. And
and
doesn't
I really
she
liked it.
repeats a line in this scene, right? Where from like the first episode about the view.
Oh, I think so. I think it's the same line. I do think it's the same line. Their whole little dynamic in this, and then connecting it back to that first episode, you see kind of like their growth, and it
Mhm.
doesn't feel forced or odd, and it makes for me like the whole rest of this episode make a lot more sense.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that it also shows. I don't know. Ellie has gone through like a huge like life shaking event, in my opinion. I mean, like
mhm.
what happened to her, especially in this last episode, is something that like people don't really get over very quickly. And so I think it was just really nice to see her focus being pulled to something after, Joel basically spent the whole first, like the intro of the episode trying to get her to pull her focus back to reality and think about
Mhm.
something else. And like this is what it takes as a giraffe. Take your kids
The
to
giraffe.
see animal conservation.
Then they too can come back to reality and see a draft. I will say I did forget the beginning of this episode actually starts with Ellie's backstory in a really fun little twist. Ellie's mom is none other than Ashley Johnson, who was
Woohoo.
the actor in the game for Ellie, and I think that's personally the best casting of the game
Mhm.
actors for the show. Obviously, Marlene with Meryl Dandridge is good because she played her, but in the game,
Yeah.
it's just that's the same. And I really did love how Ashley Johnson is Ellie's mom. I think that's really cute and sweet. And the whole thing is her, she's trying to run and hide because she's in labor. And a clicker is chasing her. She ends up killing the clicker, but gets bit. And as she's killing the clicker, just gives birth, which I was like, go off.
Some people have
But
to hold their husband's hand, some people have to bite down on something, and some people have to stab a clicker in the neck.
and so she basically is like, she doesn't want to breastfeed Ellie because she's afraid because she got bit, even though she got bit while she was still, like, Ellie wasn't born yet, which is important when you think about Ellie and being immune. So think about that. The whole idea is that her mom tells Marlene, this is Ellie, take her back to Boston with you and protect her. And so Marlene, from the jump, was in charge of Ellie, put
Mhm.
Ellie in the Fedra school, and knew all about her. So
Mhm.
we get a little bit more backstory of like why Marlene knows Ellie, all that kind of jazz, and like what actually happened to Ellie's mom, which that is like a nice tie-in for Ashley Johnson. It is very sad because obviously she got bit and is
Yeah,
turning.
I've been a
If
fan of Ashley Johnson for a long time, as I'm sure we all have.
mm-hmm,
I worked on the marketing campaigns for The Legends of Vox Machina, and so I got to watch the whole series. And she's amazing as Pike, and she's been amazing in Critical Role and so many other things that she's worked in. So I think that not to like diss Troy Baker or anything, but the reason we got such a dynamic performance from Ashley is that like she has done very like high level live action work before, and so I think that, along with it being like a little nod to the game, she was a really good casting for Anna and what
mm-hmm.
she had to do.
I loved it. Which then again, going back to what we said earlier about the Joel like checking on Ellie and stuff, it does make all Ellie's journey just that much richer and sadder at the same time because like you know what was sacrificed for her and you know kind of how much Ellie herself has sacrificed in the
Mhm.
process as well of it. And so they're there, they see the giraffe, Ellie kind of like comes back to herself. She's happier. And it, like Joel is actually trying. Like when they leave the giraffe, they go and they're starting to walk around. And he says, you know what I'm in the mood for? Some really bad fucking puns. And so Ellie like starts reading her pun book. And it all leads to like Firefly officers not realizing that it's Ellie and Joel. I don't buy that
Mhm.
personally. I think Marlene said, take her, knock him out. Because there's no way they were gonna like take Ellie back to some room and Joel was just gonna be like, okay, see
Yeah.
you later.
Oh no, not at all. Like Joel, I mean that's the thing. I feel like, Marlene hasn't been with them much, but like that kind of like bond is always like a risk. She and I don't
Mm-hmm.
think she knew to like not expect Tess or anything like that, but like being able to knock him out like eliminates the probability of any difficulty. I definitely think that was like planned and stuff. Like I don't think there was a lot where it was like Marlene couldn't go and say like this was in my power. And this is not to blame her for her actions, but like, she definitely played a large role in this. Like getting that stuff from Ellie was her end goal. How much can you really even blame her? Like I think throughout this episode you really get a deep look at both Marlene and Joel's side of things.
Here's the thing. I wrote a piece on this, and I'm sorry for anyone who doesn't agree with me, but I'm Team Joel because there's no way in hell those doctors are smart. I don't care what, if you think they're the best. Friend of the podcast and my roommate Leah Thomas made the point of they blew up most major cities. So, how good could your brain surgeons be? Because most of the good brain surgeons are in major cities. So, how good are these doctors? Like that doesn't make like it just any doctor who's like the only way to save humanity is to kill this person and hope. Producer Ashley just said the doctor performing the surgery only has a degree in biology if we're being specific. So like
Yes. He can work on the giraffes. Everybody
yeah,
else, not so
somebody
much.
go bite the giraffe and see if the giraffe is immune, and then take that brain and
Yep.
figure that out.
That nothing will go wrong if you do that. I would also like to point out that like this is not clean equipment. They're probably using like, did you see the rest of that hospital ward? It was disgusting. I would argue that like whatever was being, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's obvious. Whatever was being done to Ellie was experimental. It was kind of like if this works, it works, and that's kind of what that like. That's why I can understand why Joel did what he did, because not only does he like love and care for Ellie, but it's like there's no guarantee
Yeah.
that her sacrifice will like make a difference, you know?
Yeah, and it's also like one of those things where there's no guarantee, and also like I don't know, man, with the way that the society is and how like you all have kind of figured out how to avoid clickers and what to do to not get eaten and bitten, and yet somehow you all have so much fighting with each other and issues and everyone for out for themselves that like none of you deserve to be saved. I'm sorry. I wouldn't risk all someone's entire life on a chance you can maybe make a cure. So all these people who refuse to help one another can like get saved. Like no, like
Mhm.
Joel's right. Joel is very correct in what he ends up doing.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I understand exactly where Marlene is coming from. Like they're desperate in their eyes to save humanity, but it's also like humanity seems like it's gonna be okay. Like I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe I'm just being too optimistic here, but like people like you said are learning to survive. At this point it's Fedra versus the people, and that's the enemy in my opinion that everyone needs to be focusing a little more on. But yeah, I just like I completely understand why Joel does what he does, and
Mhm.
like the fact that there are too many questions, not enough guarantees, that like killing this person who is important to him, who he sees as like his own child now, especially with no guarantee that it was going to work or do anything good. Like that in itself kind of justifies it, like from a parental point of view.
Yeah, it was the fireflies are like I don't think them finding it wanting to find a cure, it comes from a place of like a good place. I think it comes from them trying to be like, we're trying to show that we're better than Fedra. We found the cure. The reality is that everyone should be trying to stop Fedra for having as much control over people that they as they do.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. But instead, it like feels like the Fireflies just wanted the cure so they could be like, "We're better than you," and it's like
Mm-hmm.
you're killing a child to figure it out, and you don't even know if you can figure it out. It's just a bad plan all around. It's bad.
It's just not, it doesn't hold up enough for it to, I think, warrant Ellie's killing. I don't know. Joel, of course, takes care of it.
Yeah, what we've been alluding to is that Joel just goes, "Okay, time to kill," and murders a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
Because Marlene is stupid. Joel wakes up and instead of just being like, "Hey, wait till we're done with this," and then we'll go in and tell Joel, make up a lie, be like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. Like, she didn't make it. We put her under her, and like this, like I don't know, lie if you really want this to succeed. Just lie."
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't, and instead she walks in and is brutally honest with him. It's like, yeah, we decided like the only way to do it is extract where the cordyceps lives, and he's like, cordyceps takes over the brain. She's like, yeah, sorry. We didn't tell Ellie though. Don't worry about it. She has no idea what's going to happen. It's been real nice seeing you. Bye. And it's like,
Yeah.
like, why did you tell him all of it?
No. I this wasn't the time for a monologue, Marlene. You're not a supervillain. Sorry. You don't get
And
those.
I don't even think she meant it
Yeah,
as a supervillain. I think she just meant it as like,
not. No,
this is
no,
my
no.
guy. I'm
I
gonna
don't
tell him
see
everything.
I don't see her as much of a villain at all. Like I see her as obviously an antagonistic character, but like me putting myself in both of their sets of shoes. I get it, but also I mean they kind of got what was coming to them. I would not go up against a man who made it across the country with a child in a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, but basically she just like leaves him and is like, okay, bye. And Joel's like walking out and he gets like 5 feet away and he goes, yeah, no, you know what? I'm not letting Ellie just die.
Yeah.
And so he decides time to fight and murders a bunch of people so that he can get up to the room where they are about to operate on Ellie. And here's the thing, just mistakes were made all around on the Firefly side. Because again, you could have lied. You could have said, Ellie, like we explained it to Ellie, and she was like, I want to do this. This is why I came here. Nope. You didn't even lie. You could have just told Ellie. Like if you guys were good, actually good people, you guys could have explained this to her. And but I understand why Joel did what he did and then lied to Ellie about it because she's 14. That's still like teenager.
I don't know. I mean, I think like after knowing what the game was about, you watching playthroughs, me playing it, I feel like this discourse was going to come back anyway, where
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, why do you lie, do this, blah blah blah. I expected it, and I just feel like the I don't know, like every answer to me is kind of a right answer on that, and that's not to feel like a mushy and like gutless kind of person, but like that's the whole point, is that these two major differing perspectives and actions and sets of actions, like that's what the whole episode is basically about. It's
Mm-hmm.
Joel is given the train track test, I guess, where it's like Ellie over humanity,
The
and he
trolley, the trolley
there we go.
problem.
The trolley test. It's like Ellie over humanity, and he chooses Ellie. Like, I'm sorry. If you are a parent, and this is me not saying this as a parent, because I am not. I have a cat and a dog, so that's my parental intake. But if it's like if you have had your human baby, and you had time with them, and you raised them, and you watch them like change and go through major things, and Joel didn't do most of that, but she was very important to him. So it's like my child
Julian,
against the world. No, fuck the world. Like I'm always gonna chip you. Don't
well, not
sacrifice your
even
baby. Yeah,
not even the world. It is my child, or maybe possibly the chance of
yeah,
maybe producing a cure. We don't know though. Like I'd be like,
yeah.
I'm gonna
Exactly.
go her life then over that. And it's just one of those things where it's like, if there was any like certainty,
Yeah,
maybe it'd be different. But it's like, no, there is no certainty. You guys don't fucking know. So
yeah.
I'm siding with him, who is like,
Do
you
you
didn't
want
even
to
ask her
save
if
the
she wanted
world,
to.
or can we put some dirty scalpels on your child? Like
Yeah.
no, dude, no. Screw that. Give me a better uh outcome, and we'll talk. I don't know, like, but that's the thing. Like people say, oh, Joel's wrong, but it's like if you were in Joel's shoes, it's exactly what you would do. You'd
Hmm.
leave. You'd make shit up, and then maybe one day that shit will come true. Who knows? The zombie apocalypse. How long are you gonna live anyway?
Yeah, well, he's
People lie
lived
to their
20 years.
children all the time. That's why there is a Christmas industry.
You're not wrong there. So Joel kills a bunch of people, gets to the operating room, grabs Ellie out of the bed, and one of the doctors is the actress Laura Bailey, who played Abby in The Last of Us Part 2.
Hey,
Don't worry. Don't worry, you'll figure out why that's important whenever that season comes out. Because as we learned, they're spreading out part 2 into multiple seasons. So now we have no idea what's going on in The Last of Us. Joel gets her. He's running. He's in the like parking deck, I guess, of this hospital, and Marlene comes out, and so
mm-hmm.
all we see is him and Marlene talking, and then we see Joel and Ellie in the car together. So we don't know what happened. We don't know anything past like those two talking to each other. And then we just see him and Ellie, and him and Ellie are talking. What we learned is that Joel is a smart little cookie, because he basically said to Marlene, I know you're not going to stop running for her. And he kills Marlene. Now, do I think Marlene deserved to die? No. But do I think Joel was right? Yes. Because she would have not, she would have kept coming after them.
Yeah. And she's
Like,
like that's just one more person down who was after them, because
mhm.
Joel and Ellie historically have people after them. So thin out the list a little bit.
While you can,
Well,
make
yeah.
it less. While you can, make it less. But yeah, and so when it flashes back to that, we see that Joel actually killed Marlene. And the big point of contention, I think, among fans, which I will ask how you feel about it after I say it, and then I will say how I feel, is that Joel lies to Ellie. When they're in the car, Joel and Ellie are driving. Ellie asks what happened. She's told they stopped looking for a cure, and Ellie asks him if he's lying or if it's the truth or whatever, and he says, no, it's not a lie. We know it is a lie. So what the point of contention is that Joel did lie to her when she specifically asked him, are you lying to me? I don't think it's that big of a deal because she's young still. I think he was just protecting her, and that was the only way he could think in that moment to
Hmm.
protect her. But also, I don't know, like at that point it's also what good is it going to do that to know, like, hey, on top of all the other trauma you're unpacking about everything you've just gone through, also they wanted to kill you, and I said no. And they
Yeah.
didn't tell you that.
I don't know. Like I said earlier, Santa is the biggest lie in the world, and parents are cool with lying to their kids all the time. I don't see why this lie that Ellie can probably just like get out of him later is all that bad. I don't know. And I guess in a non-frivolous way, like you said, that's Joel's attempt. Is it correct? Is it exactly right objectively? Like if you pull outside of Joel and you look at the big scope of things, no, it's not the right thing to do. But Joel is there centered again with his adopted daughter now. And he is saying things to protect her mentality, and to not cause her more trauma as they figure out where they're going. So, in
Mhm.
his perspective, and from that perspective of a parental figure, no, it's not the worst thing you can do to that child.
Yeah, and I think I don't know, the way I feel about it is just like there's been plenty of times where I look back and I realize my like a parent had lied to me about something to protect me.
Yeah.
And when you're older, you have a different perspective on it. Like little things to like bigger things that my mom decided I didn't need to worry about, but it when I learned the truth changed my perspective on something. Stuff like that happens all the time, and it is just a matter of like, all right, well, what does this child need to know versus what actually happened. And so I think Joel just made the decision. She's 14. I'm not
Mhm.
putting that on her. And even like I don't know how they're gonna do if they're gonna time jump, if they're gonna do any of that. In season two, we'll talk briefly about what we know they've said about season two at the end of this episode. Even when she is in the game, when she is 19 in the part two time jump, she's still young. Like that's still like a kid who doesn't like she's
Yeah.
reacting like a kid. She's taking that information in like kid because that's what she is.
Tony has
Tony.
opinions about this as well,
Tony's
apparently.
like, yeah, you're right. Thanks, Tony. I just think it's one of those things where yes, there were mistakes made. Yes, mistakes were made, and I think he really could have tried to not murder a bunch of people and then turn around and tell her, like, nah, it's fine, don't worry about it. But at the same time, what good would it have done to be like, well, I decided because these doctors who were not real doctors, one just had a biology degree, shouldn't have the right to murder you and take your brain simply because they maybe could figure it out. So, I don't know. Team Joel, I think he
Yeah,
was
Team
right.
Joel. Like, I don't even consider it a team thing. It's like he did the exact right thing from like the perspective he took it from. And if people are
Mhm.
upset about that, oh well, there are much worse men in media that you can go complain about. Like I'm always excited to hear different opinions from people, but like I don't know. I don't disagree with anything Joel did from that perspective, from who he is, and like looking at his child and making decisions, like this is stuff unfortunately that Ellie's gonna have to uncover later. Tony, please. But he did what was right in the moment, and maybe there's a chance he'll take in the future to right his wrongs. Who knows?
I just think that Joel got it. Joel was right. I think that was a smart move. We'll see how it plays out in the future seasons. Before we talk about what's going to happen in the other seasons, Katrina, what do you think of this finale as a whole?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I enjoyed it. Sorry, Tony just put his little paw in my hands, so I got distracted. Yeah, no, I thought it was really beautiful. I was so pleased with the way that these characters and their arcs kind of tied up this season. And I just really liked the last of it.
You liked the last of it. Ayy.
At
Um,
least for season one.
yeah, I liked the finale. I thought it was really good. I thought it had a nice balance between like showing Joel trying to unpack and take care of Ellie versus like him going on full Joel like rage and just murdering people who are trying to hurt her. So the end of the episode shows Joel and Ellie going together back to Jackson Hole. So they're going to Tommy and Maria. We don't see them, but like that's where they're going. And I think it was just a good finale and an overall really, really, really great first season.
Yeah, I loved it a lot, and I'm I'm glad that it's going to be coming to Blu-ray and DVD and stuff so it can actually exist in physical media and we never have to worry about it disappearing.
Yeah, same.
Mm.
It does. So it did. Obviously, for those who've played the game, everyone knows it kind of part two jumps 5 years. Things happen, things that are sad. All of that is in part two of the game. But what we've learned from interviews, I believe it was with Variety, Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann said that part two is not going to be all of season two. They're going to spread everything out. Whether that
Mm.
means season two is going to start anywhere in part two, or if we're going to have a second season and like lead up to part two, who's to say?
Mhm.
But they did say that part two is not one season of the series. We don't know if part two is at all getting explored in season two. But we do know it's multiple seasons.
We'll see. Every day I will, or every this is season 2 is going to be tense for me because like there's a lot of stuff that happens in part 2 that's like big and earth shaking and I'm gonna be like, oh god, when's it happening? But yeah, I'm I'm excited for season 2. I'm excited to see who gets cast as certain characters, and I'd love to see a lot of the things we saw this season with like expanding on like smaller characters or characters who may have not been done like so much justice in the game or could grow more than they were in the game. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm really excited because I again back to like Bill and Frank, like I think that was just so beautifully done, and like I have a feeling that episode's the one that's going up for an Emmy if anything.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. And with all of that said, everyone's favorite time of the week: stash, 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 stash. The stash on everybody's lips is gonna be Pedro's. Welcome to Stash of the Week, where we pick our favorite mustaches of actor Pedro Pascal and talk about why we love them. Katrina, would you like to go first?
Yes, I would like to go first. I hope we didn't pick the same stash. Okay.
Oh no.
My my stash of the week is going to be something we're talking about later this week. But Pedro Pascal in the ad for Merge Mansion. Wow. Great stash. Both on the face and behind on the board. Just love it. Just love it. 10 out of 10.
It's giving Javier Pena.
Mhm.
Um, it literally looks like, I think Ashley tweeted this, but it looks like that image where Javier Pena is laying on the ground, like the green thing, and all of
Mhm.
the stuff is around him. That's what it looks like. Producer Ashley's pick is Petro at the Oscars rehearsal wearing a
Perfect.
crazy bruh. You're so dressed up for the Oscars rehearsal. Florence Pugh's hair was wet, and he's like, "Here's my full little outfit." Um, has such a nice little outfit. It's so nice. He was also at the Oscars, which again we'll talk about this later. But look at him; he
Mhm.
looks so
I
handsome.
want I want someone
Um,
to edit Oscar Isaac into this photo. Where the Oscar is.
where the
So
Oscars
he
put
can
it on
know
his
now.
face. Yeah, we need to just go ahead and edit an Oscar. But honorary mention for Stash of the Week is this picture of him as Joel, because damn, blood on the neck.
Wow.
Um, well, wait, before I reveal mine, I do have to do something because it is the last episode about The Last of Us. Ashley, if you could take away these pictures, I will disown you. But
No.
I'm going to sing over this while I do it. All right, ready? I will remember you. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la. Will you remember me? Don't let your life pass you by. Be
Oh.
lost for in memories. I love you, Joel Miller's booty. Um. Okay, now my stash of the week pick is none other than the giraffe stash.
Love it.
Giraffe. He's a giraffe.
This
I
is a
love the
giraffe.
giraffe.
Can you
I
guys
love it so much.
believe they fit a giraffe in here?
He's like, look, that is a giraffe. I love him. Giraffe, I love you so much. You don't have a mustache. This is for Pedro's mustache, but look at the giraffe. I love it. I love it. It's perfect. Catrina,
Yeah.
tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me anywhere on the internet at Katrina, OHCATRINA. I host a bunch of other podcasts and do so many other things, but I don't have any brain cells left tonight. So you're just going to have to find me on the internet and figure it out. How about you, Rachel?
You can find me at Rachel Leishman on Twitter, at Rachel_Leishman on Instagram. Find my writing at The Mary Sue and Collider. You can also listen to me on the Fordcast. And you can follow the podcast at Podro Pascal everywhere you find your podcasts. And on social media, same handle. Like, rate, review, subscribe. Tell your mom. Listen to us. Make sure Pedro Pascal knows to listen to us. He knows about us, but does he listen? We'd like to
Who
know.
knows? The people would
But
like to
guys,
know.
this has been The Last of Us. So until season 2 of The Last of Us, where we'll be here tomorrow to talk about The Mandalorian. But until season 2 of The Last of Us, bye-bye.
Bye bye.